generation. The whole
Welcome back to it, guys. Your Tobago Thursday edition of the Now Morning Show. And as always, we get to speak with the youth. This particular one won the 20th National Youth Parliament in December and was one of the debaters at the 17th Youth Parliament of the Caribbean, the Americas, and the Atlantic region of the Commonwealth Parliamentarian Association in Guyana earlier this month. Jhada Charles joins us on the Now via Zoom this morning. Good morning and welcome, Jhada.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us and representing us so well, as this experience had to be a phenomenal one. To those of us who did not get to participate, we're going to live vicariously through you this morning. Explain to the people, first off, what it was like to win that 20th National Youth Parliament back in December, because I understand your initial interest wasn't that high. How did you get started there, Jhada?
Okay, so how I got started was a phone call. My friend Luke, he called me about the opportunity because he was participating as well. So he asked me if I was interested, and I said, okay, this is a new experience, but I'm open to try it. So that is how I initially started out. And then through the debating process, we had seminars, we had workshops with the National Parliament where they had coordinators training us in the debating style of our national parliament. So it was very interesting. And during the seminars and the workshops and the mock debates, I really fell in love with debating. I got a knack for it. And on the day, it was very unexpected because I didn't participate to win. That was not even in my mind. I just wanted to try the experience. But clearly I did something a little right. I picked up a little things in the seminars. A little something.
Well, I do appreciate that you tried it and continued, because now we have you representing us across the region, and what we will understand from a debate is, of course, particular topics being talked about from different perspectives. When we have that representation, though, usually there is a common goal. So describe to me a little bit about that 17th Regional Commonwealth Youth Parliament, that particular experience.
Okay, so that experience was totally different to the National Youth Parliament because it's not just persons from your country, it's everyone regionally and from also far states. So we all came together to discuss a topic which was involving youth in the legislative process. So the government brought the motion that young people should be more involved in the legislative process and that a quota system should be implemented to allow that inclusivity, whereas the opposition had to argue against that. And well, not really against it, because the opposition were in agreement that young people should be involved, but they were not in agreement specifically with the specificities of what the motion called for. So their job was basically to highlight how it can be better implemented in the Caribbean states, and then it will hopefully move on internationally to have young people in that legislative process.
Sounds beautiful. Now, I will want you to explore a little bit to me, explain rather a little bit to me as to the outcomes of that. But before we go to there, you mentioned that there was a number of persons involved in the debate, as there should be, but from different parts of the region and the world. And I imagine that was a bit of a challenge, perhaps. Tell me a little bit about how you navigated that challenge.
Yes, it was a bit of a challenge because unlike national parliament, we are together, we get to mock debate, we get to caucus, we get to meet. But because we're from different places, meeting and talking together and sharing our ideas was difficult. So it was not until the morning of the debate when we were able to be together in person and actually do a little run through of each of our points and our talking points to ensure that there is no duplicacy, there is no repetition. But thankfully, everybody came with a different angle and a different point of view so that we were able to produce an effective contribution to the debate.
Beautiful. Now let's talk about that contribution a little bit, because the proposed, or the topic, as we would say, was making sure that younger persons are involved in the legislative process. And that is a very real and very necessary thing. When we talk about young persons, do we have a specific age group we were looking at? And as far as the actual involvement itself, was there a conclusion that was reached that we might actually see come into fruition?
Okay, so the age group is usually 18 to 35. That was the age group that was specified for young persons. They were specifically stating that young persons under 30 are underrepresented across the region because only 5% of parliamentarians constitute that age group of 18 to 30. So the debate was very well discussed from both sides. And I want to believe that there was an outcome because in the audience, there were several regional leaders, there were ministers, there were speakers of the House from different Caribbean nations. So it is our hope that they will listening to us and they listen well. And the outcome of all youth parliament is that our voices are heard and it reaches someone. It reaches someone to the point where they feel so moved that maybe a bill may come to the House that says, yes, young people need to be involved in the legislative process, and this is how we are going to make it happen.
Fingers crossed, because they have to listen and listen well, right? Like that line. Yeah. I think that we will, of course, follow up with you because you will have other endeavors. But coming out of this regional Commonwealth Youth Parliament, do you see yourself continuing in the realm of politics altogether?
Well, yes. I wanted to say no, but yes, because after being in the experience and seeing how policies are made and how legislation are drafted up and debated and getting the different perspectives from all sides, I think that it is something that I am very much interested, especially as a young person. I believe that when you're passionate about advocating for the rights of the youth, you should continue to strive and work hard towards that. And I feel like if I continue on this path, hopefully I may have a voice in the parliament someday that I could actually action the rights of young people, so much so that we are heard and we are heard well.
And they listen well. I'm going to continuously say that for the rest of the day. Now, I'm sure you would have heard of the national awardees, and of course we would have spoken this morning to somebody who is from Tobago, Ms. Beverly Ramsey Moore, who received a national award as well. One of the things we all agreed on was how inspiring that is. And I'm wondering if at all that had any sort of impact on you and those future plans of becoming part of policy and politics in the future.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the persons who get the national award, that they're not seeking for the recognition or anything, but if you do get awarded, it is a great, great achievement. So hopefully one day in the future, I may be one of those awardees, but with earning, not without earning it and not without putting in the hard work. And maybe if I continue, that will happen soon.
Best of luck in that endeavor and your political aspirations. But what is next on the calendar of events in terms of other debates, other regional conferences? Where will we find you next, Jhada?
Well, right now the focus is school. I just started Youth and Law School, so in the debating aspect, hopefully in the courts, that's next. But in terms of regional debate, I just have to wait and see what opportunity arises from the national parliament, and hopefully we'll go from there.
And in that case, we appreciate you giving us some of your time to update us. Thank you for the representation and continue to aspire towards greatness, Jhada. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. You too.
An absolute pleasure. And if it wasn't for the fact that she was all the way in Tobago, I would say that we will be checking in with her sooner rather than later. I only say all the way in Tobago because...
all the way
only because, as she said, she has to wait till the next opportunity to find out when next she will be representing us. But for the most part, something tells me it's not the last that we've seen of Jhada Charles, the National Youth Parliamentarian. Yeah, you can tell. The energy was they have to listen and they have to listen well. And I'm going to take that. Thank you very much, Jhada.
I hope you listen and listen well too.
We'll maybe put it into action some more than others. But we will hope that you listen and listen well to all that we have here on the Now Morning Show. We'll be back after these messages.
Mr. West Indian politician.